Hello and welcome to Contractor School Podcast, where we're dedicated to helping you achieve extraordinary growth and success by supplying you with the tools, resources, and support necessary to not only build profitable businesses, but to create a lasting impact on your families, companies, and communities. I am Eric Guy, host and director of learning and development at TCS. With me today is the notorious BIG, or JIM as we call him, director of strategy here, the man who makes the world go round for TCS, Mr. Jim Williams. What's happening, bro?
What's happening? Glad to be here, man. I'm excited for this.
Yeah, so I want to dig in because not just for members, because I think some members aren't taking full advantage of things, but for the people who don't know, like there are a lot of people that call and ask. I know I just had a call yesterday from a gentleman that was inquiring a little bit here and there about, why TCS, why should I do it? So maybe we just start off with that, let's just kind of dive into what is TCS and what makes it different.
Yeah. So I think really if I were to explain it, there's a couple components that I think add super amount of value to contractors, not only their business, but their lives. I think really at the end of the day, our goal is to help contractors be successful, which drives their family relationship, their community engagement, work with their employees. We do that in several different ways, but I think first and foremost, the community aspect of what we do is paramount. We really created a network of people who are looking to give back and help others. So we've got members across the U.S. as well as into Canada that we provide coaching and mentorship for. And we bring all of them together for regular digital engagement, which we want to, connect the dots between digital and personal, where people can meet in person at some of the events that we do.
Yeah, you hear it all the time because you're reaching out. Not only do you interact with members, you're reaching out to potential new members, and I think a lot of them have the same challenges. What are the challenges you hear most of them facing today?
Yeah, I think top three for me, things that I hear every day, multiple times a day, is I'm working in the business, not on the business. I'm wearing all of the hats. I don't have the time to do, all of the day-to-day stuff. I need to either hire the right staff or, which will lead me to number two. But, I think relative to number two is skilled labor. Retaining or finding skilled labor, I think, is a challenge. So, everybody always seems to think that the grass is greener on the other side. So, we see a lot of people that are leaving ship not only to go to a competitive business, but also to go out on their own and create a business of their own, which we see a lot in the construction space. But number three is somewhere in the technology field. I would equate that to project management software. It could be website SEO. It could be something as simple as like capturing content for social media and taking the time to make posts. So, I kind of encompass all of that into that technology platform. So those are my top three. If I told you they came up, at least one time a day, I'd be kind of minimalizing that. It's routine that I hear that from contractors all the time.
Yeah, and that's not just our members. That's
right.
People that you're talking to that have interest in coming on.
Yeah, more so the people that I'm talking to. I think people that have been here and, they kind of understand how we can help them and engage us, then they've been able to free that time up to be visionary, to have strategic plans for the business, and work through that. But I talk to a lot of people who aren't with us, and those things come up on a routine basis. Sometimes it's people that hit all three of them on one call. And, I wouldn't be surprised if it's not typically two out of the three at minimum.
Yeah, I would agree. And that leads me into my next question, success stories as far as members, because, people are, and I think they should be, right? They naturally should be a little skeptical of, because there's a lot of that stuff out there. I mean, I was skeptical at first when Brian first, introduced me to the community, and I was like, let's see, what is this all about? But what have you seen, people that have actually stayed in, participated? What are the benefits for them?
Yeah, I think definitely a way for them to grow and scale their business. maybe it's reorganizing what they do on a day-to-day basis. Maybe it's who is helping them accomplish those tasks that they were taking on themselves and, really doing everything. If you think about it, a lot of times contractors have a control issue. So they want to control everything, right? They're good at the trade, so they feel like they need to control the operations in the office, the billing, the estimates, all of that. And they can't release that control, but it actually, if they do that and allow other people to do that for them on their behalf, then they're that much more productive out there in the field doing the trade, out there selling, qualifying opportunities for the business to grow. I think that's probably the biggest thing is if you can release that and let other people help you win, then the team, the rising tide floats all ships. I think that's the mentality is everybody collectively focused on the mission is going to help the business grow.
Yeah, and I really think, in addition to that revenue growth, I've seen some intangible benefits that members gain as well, especially the ones that have been here quite a while. Leadership, development, work-life balance, those kinds of things. What are those intangible things other than just revenue growth that you've seen and heard from members?
Yeah, I think the one that stands out is people are focused on really creating a legacy, for their family, their kids. We've got a lot of second generation members that are in the group, but I don't think that the business stops at generation 2. Like they're looking to, give to their kids that they've had. If you think about like a lot of the retreats and meetups that we have, there's kids running around, there's families that are engaged in part of the events that we do. They're there to create that business and scale the business for the next generation of their kids to take over.
Yeah, and that kind of brings me to like some of the important questions that people would have that aren't involved yet. Like, how do you get involved in what? Like, we do have different membership levels,
right,
but you're probably the best at explaining those levels.
Yeah, there's a lot of ways to engage us. So, in every aspect, we've got multiple tiered approach, right? So we've got either weekly or biweekly coaching calls that we do for our community. We do those on Zoom. Eric actually leads those calls. And with that, we've got a couple different tiers. There's an elite membership that does biweekly calls. So second and fourth Tuesday of every month, we bring the community together. They're on a Zoom call. We record those, and then they go into our custom app, which is kind of the next level. The app engagement brings the community together. We have all of the recorded call content, resource center with a lot of coaching documents, trackers, prospecting questions, qualifying questions. There's a ton of stuff that's in there that you'll have access to, as well as executive coaches on our team. So we've got 10 executive coaches that do one-on-one coaching. So Inner Circle membership is kind of the advanced group. So we do weekly trainer-led coaching calls there. We have up to unlimited one-on-one coaching with the executive coaches. Our executive coaching team consists of 10 executive coaches. 7 of the 10 are running active 8-figure construction companies in the U.S. And then we've got a sales coach, health and wellness coach, and then Eric coaches on talent optimization, which is really a sweet spot for our clients and members. Being able to hire the right people, being able to coach your employees, all of that is really where Eric is successful. So I think that kind of rounds out our 10 executive coaches. Then we bring together a couple of events. We do spring and fall meetups, which are in person. And then we've got a 3-day winter retreat that we do in January, typically somewhere in Florida.
Yeah, those are, the training sessions, those weekly training sessions really, like when people are involved with that really emphasizes, hey, this is what we should be doing. This is what, these are some things to try. I've seen a lot of people grow through those, especially the ones that show up week in, week out.
Yeah.
A lot of growth. When you can, you think about, the story that we have with one, it went from, 2-3 million. Now they're up like towards 25,
28,
yep,
right.
Maybe somewhere in that range. That's incredible. Right. And it's not all about that, but that's nice to have that space for people. And that's what they're looking to build a business. And that's what that team has.
Right.
Talk about like these in-person events and how important those are and what those are like.
Yeah. The feedback that I would provide there is we have the digital engagement on a weekly basis. So when you're on the Zoom calls, you're interacting with people. It's an interactive group. It's not like you sit and listen to us just tell you stuff. You're engaged in feedback, participation. So you start to develop relationships with the people that are on these calls. The way that you engage and participate is going to really benchmark how you find success in the group. So if you sit there as a wallflower and don't participate, maybe you'll get less than being active and participating. But our hope is when you're participating on the weekly calls in our custom app, it gives you an opportunity to reach out to somebody with a direct message and make that connection, which then eventually turns into you meeting them in person at our face-to-face event. So I think the camaraderie of the group is one of the biggest things. If I told you that we had a community of people that would drop everything to bend over backwards and help you at the drop of a dime, I'm not lying when I tell you that that's the majority of our community members will do everything in your best interest to help you and really move you forward. That community is really a resource for accelerating your failure rate. So the more that you can be active and engaged in the community, the less times you have to bang your head against the wall trying to figure something out. They've gone through it before. They have opportunity to help you. That's the challenge is most people are going at it alone. And most people start a construction business because they're great at the trade, not great at running a business. So if you think about it, you've got now an entire community of people who are doing the same thing but are steps ahead of you and that can help you with some of the failures that you're running into. A lot of those questions get answered in the chat feed right within the app. So if you have a question, you drop it in the chat, you're going to get responses back there. You can pick the phone up and call somebody and say, hey, man, I've met you a couple times via chat or I've seen you on the calls. You've talked about this. I'm having a problem with that same thing that you've mentioned several times. What can you do to help me, steer me in the right direction? So I think really leveraging the community as a resource is probably the biggest value that I see from a networking standpoint and being engaged and having people that can help you with answers.
Yeah, we have some big names at the winter retreat. I mean, we have a lot of good content,
right?
But I mean that just heightens it even more, right? We had Jordan Peterson,
Dr. Jordan Peterson, yeah.
The year before was Ed
Milet, John Maxwell. So yeah, we bring in high caliber guest speakers because it's the right thing to do to add value for our community. We try to give them a resource and speaker that's going to be beneficial to them as they grow personally as well as in their business.
Yeah, and as you said, one of the biggest advantages of TCS is the network.
Right.
And you're not giving it lip service. I mean, I've seen these guys reach out to one another, from across the country. I mean, even like, hey, you're doing this, I'm doing this. What advice do you have?
Yeah.
And I like how you say that, accelerate failure. If you're going to fail fast. And
right.
This is a way to do that, right? It's like people have screwed up with that. Like, just get on the phone.
Yeah. Ask for help.
And it's amazing. It amazes me how these members will just drop. Stop. And I've reached out to some of the members and say, hey, can you talk to somebody? And
right.
they're like, yeah, like when?
Yeah. Well, interesting story. I'll tell you this because I always get a kick out of it. But, there's times where I've got everybody mapped out across the country and into Canada where our members are. And I'm talking to a prospective member that's, in New York City, upstate New York somewhere. And I'll say, hey, I've got one of the members that's close by to you. What if I connected the two of you? Don't listen to me tell you about their experience. Why don't you get firsthand feedback from them? Let me see if I can do a text thread introduction. And, a lot of times I'll shoot a text over to our member and then, somebody who's curious that they want to learn about, their experience, what they've done in the community, their feedback. So I'll create that text thread and immediate responses start to happen. And people drop everything to make a phone call and go, oh, yeah, I'll talk to them right now. No problem. And then they get that call that afternoon or, that morning, whenever it is that I send the text out. And they're making those immediate connections with people who aren't members of ours because they know that it's going to help grow the community and really help everybody that's in the group.
Yeah, and I guess the question that always comes up from other people is why would we do that? Why? Why would you just reach out and call somebody? Why would you give me somebody that could potentially compete with me? And it's just a different it's just a different network, right?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, the whole idea is to build one another up.
Right.
And, but it doesn't matter what kind of contractor you are. I mean, it's a lot of the same issues. Like you said,
Yeah.
the three that you see all the time. I mean, obviously we see other issues, but those are the big three.
Right.
It's like, well, if you knew somebody that was doing that, I mean, I'm just thinking about the call yesterday, our inner circle call, and Brian mentioned to one of our members who's been a member since inception. He's like, yeah, remember when you did that, one video to get really good, you put a video out there and it got really good,
Response.
response
Yep.
out of everybody, and you got some really good employees. And he's like, oh yeah, I guess I need to do that again.
I forgot all about that.
I forgot all about that.
Yep.
And I started laughing, and it's like, well, but we do need reminded. And some of the things that we go over, and maybe you could speak about that. Like we have different competencies that we go over every month, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and the calls are based on the monthly call. Each topic is one of our core competencies. So we have a dozen core competencies. We don't do any coaching on a specific construction trade. So let me just say that again. It's not trade specific. It's really driven behind how to grow and scale your business. So things like leadership, culture, community, communication. Think of some of the back end office stuff, processes, systems, reporting, finance, sales, marketing, technology. We're focused on things that are going to help you drive and grow your business. It's not unheard of for people to come in and say, hey, I'm looking to 2X or 3X my business. And we can be successful in doing that. But have the expectation that this isn't a vending machine. You're not going to put your membership in each month and, automatically something falls to the bottom that's a shiny trinket that you're going to take home and go, hey, we won, 2 months in. It's an investment over time. We do develop a 12-month coaching plan based around our core competencies for you. So where you have the most deficiencies, you rate yourself. So let's just say it's in marketing. That's going to be the first thing that we address in that 12-month coaching plan. And then obviously to where you're least deficient and feel that you're strong suited, that's going to be your last topic on the 12-month coaching segment. So long-term investment, but we can definitely help within those core competencies. And then that's what the topic is for each month. We address one of those core competencies with a granular approach each week into, what that specific subcomponent of the topic is. So, it's great to get the consistency of the same thing during the month, knowing that this is going to help me in processes and systems or finance or reporting. We'll help you in those categories on the weekly calls, and then we can also break out into the one-on-one coaching sessions as well to dive deeper into those.
Yeah, good. You did mention the app, Jim.
Yep.
I think that's something to mention here because that's something that, if people are just doing a toe dip, the app does not cost them anything.
Right.
To get into, right?
Right.
It's the
Yeah.
One
So a
Team
lot
app.
of different ways to get engaged in the app. So we have the One Team Community app. So the number one teamnetwork.com. You can go there and register for a free profile, jump in, Android and Apple. You'll be able to find the app in both of the stores that you can download to your smartphone. But there's a lot of different resources that are in there. So a couple things that you're going to find is there's a news feed where we're pushing out content and updating on a regular basis. There's a lot of media content that's in there. We produce about 16 podcasts out of our studio. So you're going to find access to a lot of those podcasts. The Brian Hess Show is one of them that we do live every day, Monday through Friday. That's a great one to watch. If you're in there, also, you'll have access to the elite community, which is some of our contractors as well as employees of our inner circle group. Those are subscription based, so you would have a monthly membership fee to access those custom spaces. But a couple things that you'll find in there also, we have sponsorships from OEMs and partners, and then we also have supplier members that are inside of the app as an additional resource. So you can find all of them. Some of them have their own public spaces, some of them have private spaces, but also a resource that's in the app as well. So newsfeed, there's a chat features that are in there, obviously direct messaging that you can reach out to any of our community members within the app. And then we are part of the administrative group, so we're interacting within the app every day. We've got streaks that we track for how many days in a row you've logged in. So I think my streak right now just reached over 60 days in a row. that I've been in. So I think some of the other folks on the team are up in that same range. We're always active and engaged in the app, so feel free to reach out to us there as well.
Yeah, I mean, with that, they're the sponsors and things like that. There is other benefits too that don't get brought up quite as much. But we have the agreement with Verizon, with Dynapack. I mean, those are some things that really benefit our members.
Right.
I mean, Dynapack, we have the white glove experience.
Right. White glove. Yeah. We've got, there's a lot of customization from sponsors that are in there, whether it's national account pricing that they can get off of equipment that they buy. We've got DeWalt as one of our product partners that's in there. They do some special trade-in programs on equipment. The white glove that you mentioned with Dynapack is huge. So instead of going through the dealer network, you'll still have the dealer engaged and active, but we'll actually have Dynapack hand deliver, some of their equipment right to you at your job site or at your workplace. Verizon Business is a huge partner of ours. They do some offers to our community members that are done through the app as well. A lot of cool stuff that happens with our sponsor partners.
Yeah, and then when we think about all this, somebody wants to reach out and learn more. What's the best way to get started?
Yeah, I think really go to our website, so topcontractorschool.com. If you want to reach out to me directly, I'm one of the executive coaches on the team. You can find me under oneteamnetwork.com. I'm sorry, not One Team Network. That's the app. Topcontractorschool.com/coaches. You can book a call with me to talk about your business and see where we might be a fit for you. You can reach out to me online. I'm on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, all of those social content pages. You can find us through the One Team app, the number one teamnetwork.com. You register for a free profile there. You can shoot me a message, Jim Williams. So look for me there. A lot of different ways to track me down.
Yeah, and I would say, if you're interested at all, right? If you want to take the toe dip, we can get you on to one of the calls so you can experience one of the calls. It's, no obligation,
right?
No cost. You can try it out, and a lot of people do that, and just sign up because you'll see the value once you jump onto those things, see the community. It's not a lot of these things are going on, especially for contractors. This is almost a no-brainer. So I would say if you're serious about growing your business, getting better at it, working on it, not in it, then give Jim a call, talk through it with him. He'll get you on one of the calls, and you'll see it's very valuable to the contractors that engage with it for sure.
Yeah, I want to go back to the calls, and I'll say this. So, I can invite you as a guest onto any of the Wednesday trainer-led coaching calls. More than happy to get an invite out to you. But one of the things I'll tell you is sometimes the feedback is, this is a lot of general information that we can find on podcast, online. That's just the tip of the iceberg is the weekly trainer-led coaching call. So don't discount the fact of all of the members that are engaged on that call, all of the executive coaches that are behind the one-on-one coaching that are there, and then that community of people I think is really the big resource. So granted, you might be able to find 10 different podcasts to pull a lot of information together, but you're going to put a lot of time and energy into that, where we do it on a regular, reoccurring basis. And podcasts, you don't get to interact with those. You don't get to participate. You might leave comments on a podcast, and maybe the podcaster never gets to those comments or never gives you feedback. But when you're active on those coaching calls, you have the ability to get help right on the call, interact, engage, ask your questions, and participate. And I think that's one of the things that's a big value add is that active participation. Like I said, that's how you're going to grow. But reach out to me. I'd love to host you on one of the calls so you can see exactly what we're talking about. It doesn't cost you anything to go on that. I'd love to get a follow-up and get your thoughts and feedback on it. So, we may schedule a 10 or 15-minute debrief after you've been on one of the coaching calls just to get your experience and thoughts from there. But love to learn about your business. If you're struggling with any of those top 3 that I listed or any other ideas that you're challenged with and banging your head against the wall, reach out to us. You can give me a call directly, shoot me a text, 412-290-8000. Always active on the phone as well. So reach out. Let us know where we can help. I'd be glad to have the conversation with you.
Good job. Thanks. Appreciate it.
Appreciate you having me.
Yeah.
This is exciting, man.
Reach out, guys. I mean, this is something, I got involved a while back, and this is something I really believe in. They've got a great community here. Jim's been doing a great job making sure we get the right people in and just growing the community. And the more we grow it, the better it gets. I mean, the more resources we have for all the members. And everybody's growing from it. So,
right.
Thanks a bunch, Jim. Hey, that's all for today, folks. Really appreciate you tuning in to the TCS podcast today. Till next time, keep leading, keep growing, and keep winning. We'll see you next time.